Have you ever tried affirmations, rituals, or mindset work, but still felt like you were pushing against something invisible? That heaviness, that resistance often isn't yours. It can be an interference, and that's where SRT, spirit release therapy, comes in. So, when when there's a contract, an entity occurs, or even an AI implant in someone's field, it doesn't matter how many times they repeat, I am abundant, the interference keeps saying, "Mm-mm, not for you, girlfriend." It's like trying to drive with the emergency brake on until that's released. The energy can't flow the way it's meant to. So what's SRT? SRT is one of my preferred modalities to um to do, you know. Um and this is how it works. There's a two-person process, right? There's a facilitator who reads through a very detailed protocol, okay? Lots of questions. It's like 3 pages long. Questions that cover sovereignty and aura health, dark forces, contracts, attachments, AR interference, portals, and so much more. There's even a part of the clearing, that's what the service is called, clearing, that goes over twin flames, right? It asks if you're a twin, if the client has asked for that for clear their twin circle, then we do that, right? Now, meanwhile, I step in as the medium while the facilitator is asking the questions. I connect with the guides. I watch, I listen, I sense, I see, right? What's happening in the client's energy field. So the client is not with me. The facilitator sometimes is with me, sometimes is on Zoom. I record this on Zoom. That's the way I provide that service, right? You don't know what's happening if you're the client. And I mean, you know it's going to happen because you hire me, but you don't know when it's happening. So I record myself. You can hear the voice of the facilitator talking and asking me the questions. For example, is the client sovereign? And I look and I say if the client is sovereign or not. If there's a portal in their house. So the facilitator asked me, is there a portal in their house? And I look and I look, and sometimes things kind of like light up or pop off. And I will say, well, there's a portal in their kitchen or in the bathroom or in their office or what have you. And then the guides are the ones that do the work, right? So the first thing I do is I connect with my guides, I connect with the client's higher self and with the client's guides. And they all come in, to help me. And I identify my guides and I test them to make sure that they're legit, even though I know them very well. But I still have to test them because sometimes tricksters come in, right? And they can look like and sound like anything, right? So I test my guides, and that's all part of the protocol. So if there's a portal, let's say in the person's house, I ask my guides, Archangel Michael is usually with me. If somebody's very sick, Archangel Raphael may come in with me, or Metatron has sometimes come in with me. And I ask them to help to close the portal or to cut the cords or to clear the aura, different things, right? So I am looking at that happening. I scan the person's place. I scan the person's surroundings and their body, and I ask my guides to come in and do this, that, the other. So if something is found, my guides take care of it. Okay. They repair damage, cut cords, clear entities, remove implants, you know, seal the aura, whatever it is that we find. So my role is to, in front of the camera, report back in real time what the guides are doing. Okay. So it's never just me. It's it's also the facilitator holding the structure and making sure that I don't get lost in the process, because sometimes um when we are in that state, in the channeling state, we can time doesn't flow the way in the 3D flow. So I can be looking at something, and to me 30 seconds have passed, when in reality 5, 10, 15 minutes have passed and I'm just looking at stuff, right? So the facilitator's job is to create that structure and to bring me back, say, hey, what are you saying? What are you seeing? Are you okay? And when I hear that kind of grounds me and brings me back a little bit, takes me out of that a little bit so I can stay grounded. I'm not never gonna get lost. It's just for the flow of the work, right? Because the client is gonna be looking at the video. So the client is not gonna be like, what's happening for 15 minutes, right? So, it's to keep it flowing. Um, so for example, I recently worked with someone who felt completely drained, no matter what she did. So the facilitator led us into the sovereignty check and the aura scan, and immediately the guy showed me a negative attachment pulling from her heart space. While the facilitator kept reading the protocol, I watched as the guy cut the cord, heal the aura, the area, and reseal the aura. And I simply described what they were doing. Within a few days, she wrote me saying that she felt lighter and had the energy to finally take action, which she's been avoiding. Um, I also had a client who could not step forward in her business. No matter how many affirmations she wrote, she felt drained. So every time she tried to launch something new, she felt stuck. So during the SRT clearing, the guy showed me an old contract and a negative cord draining her energy. We cleared both and sealed her aura, and within days, she felt better. Um, things like that. People usually just feel better after a clearing. It's also very satisfying because when I scan the body, and many times I don't know anything about the client. I try, when somebody asks me for an SRT clearing, not to tell me everything that's going on. I say, don't say anything. Many times I just know the person's name. That's it. That's all I know. So I try to visualize their body and I scan their body. And sometimes I say, I see something in your lower left leg, or I see something in your stomach, or I see, and then it's great when they come back to me and say, in fact, I have this and this and that in my lower left leg, and I have this in my stomach, and I have this in my back, which I had no way of knowing. So it's it's an incredible it's an incredible modality. So what happens after the clearing? People often feel lighter, clearer, more themselves. Sometimes it's immediate. Sometimes it takes a little bit to unfold, a couple days following, but the key is when the interference is gone, your affirmations and your intentions and your energy finally lands. And that's where the real transformation begins. Okay. Um, a lot of the times there are addictions, there are trauma, childhood trauma. There's and a lot of the times thought patterns that are going on with the client that their higher self tell me about. they say, well, this person is constantly thinking about this and this and that. And I say that, I said, your higher self is telling me that you need to stop regurgitating this story or having this negative thought pattern or whatever it is. So that part is very, very important because many times client will return to me a year later with some of the same issues because they never follow through with their part. I can do clearings, but if you continue with some patterns of behavior that are impacting you in a negative way, and we already told you, you're gonna have the same problem. And I don't have any problems redoing a clearing, but you're gonna have the same issues if you don't do your part. So that's an interesting part of the clearing. So this week, we're diving into spirit relief therapy together. On Friday, I'll guide a short group clearing to repair and anchor sovereignty. Sovereignty. So there, you know what I'm saying. I'm tired. I think I'm coming down with something. So excuse me. On Saturday morning in Spirit Lounge, I'll show you a live SRT clearing demo. So you can see exactly how the facilitator and myself as the medium and the guys work together in this process. Um, You'll also be opening the doors um, to my SRT program so you can learn how to do this work. Okay. So you can come at program if you want me to, tell you about the class. Um, so the heaviness that you feel may even not be yours. And if it's not yours, it can be cleared. I'll see you soon.